police moved in swiftly and in large numbers when they realised the scale of the tragedy that was unfolding. First reports were difficult enough to believe. A heavily armed man walking through this quiet country town, shooting people apparently at random. Among those killed were passers-by and a policeman who tried to reason with him.
The quietness of everything. There was nobody about. Everybody was either hiding in their houses. There was nobody on the street. The only people on the street were dead people. And in Southview, where we began our operation, our search to contact operation, there were 8 dead people in the road and by their homes, where he'd begun his massacre. That's where he lived, Southview. So I suppose for me it was just the quietness and the noise of burning, because he set fire to his house, and the image of dead people. The day of the Hungerford Massacre was for me like any other day. You know, I was then in 1987 a member of the tactical firearms team. We were training in Oxfordshire, just firearms training, and I remember going to a local shop at lunchtime to get some sandwiches, and then we had the call, and most of us never knew where Hungerford was. We arrived at the police station there and were armed up and deployed. But I suppose for me the most vivid memory, obviously there was a lot of carnage we witnessed, a lot of dead people, including a colleague, was the quietness. I've seen a fair few things in my life that perhaps people shouldn't have seen, shouldn't have been exposed to, but that's the police officer that has that experience. But I think it's the first time where I've experienced real fear, and I was almost scared stiff, overwhelmingly fearful of the carnage that I was operating in. And on reflection back, I think that was probably for me one of the, if there can be blessings from such tragedy, was that I began to understand how to deal with fear, and to operate in those sort of circumstances. So, but I was very scared. At one point I was petrified when I got isolated at one point during the operation. And although I was armed and able to defend myself, Michael Ryan's weaponry outpowered me. I had a revolver, we had shotguns, but he had fully automatic assault rifles. And the body armour we were wearing, we wouldn't have stopped the rounds. But at least we had something to defend ourselves with. But having experienced that fear and operated in that fearful environment, I learned a lot about myself, on how to cope with that and how to continually operate even when things are pretty difficult. On the way down to Hungerford, because we didn't know what we were going to, I thought it was an armed robbery that had gone wrong. There'd been some shots fired, some casualties, and that the armed robbers were held up. I never knew until probably half an hour, 45 minutes having arrived at Hungerford, that there'd been what we call a Roma killer, somebody roaming around killing indiscriminately. So to be honest, I felt a lot of excitement on the way there, because that's what I was paid to do. And but that excitement, after I deployed into Hungerford, turned into one of acute concern about the situation I was in, and to be honest, whether in fact I was going to go home that day. So I don't think I was ever nervous. I was either excited or fearful or both. But nervous, no, I never was. we all have feelings, and we all have those emotions that are connected with life, and some of the things that I have seen and witnessed have been quite difficult, but I think what police officers in the main are able to do is to put up like a protective barrier against those things, and I've used that protective barrier on many occasions to ensure that my emotions are kept in control. But I'm not ashamed to say that there are times when I've got very emotional about experiences that I've faced, and I'm not ashamed of that. But I think that those emotions need to be kept in check whilst we are doing our job, and on the whole I think we do that quite well.